The morning sky over Asgard shimmered like gold, yet a storm lingered in the distance. A goddess walked among mortals and immortals alike, her presence both captivating and dangerous. This was Freya, beauty and fury intertwined, love and war embodied in a single being. Her choices would change hearts, her battles would shape realms, and today, her story begins. The gardens of Asgard were quiet, almost too quiet. Morning light spilled across the marble paths, illuminating flowers that seemed to bloom at her every step. Freya walked among them, the goddess of love, beauty, and unyielding power. Her presence was magnetic. Mortals whispered her name in awe, gods bowed cautiously, and even the Valkyries paused, sensing the magic that lingered in the air. Her eyes held stories, secrets, and promises, both gentle and terrifying. Love was her gift. It could mend hearts, sway decisions, and heal wounds unseen. Yet, beneath that gift lay the unrelenting edge of war, the fury of a goddess who had witnessed countless battles. Each choice she made carried consequences far beyond what mortals could imagine. Even in her calm moments, she felt the weight of the realms. The whispers of conflict from distant lands reached her ears. The struggles of mortals and gods alike shaped her understanding of power. She was not only admired for her beauty, but feared for the quiet storm that lived within her. The Valkyries approached, silent and disciplined. They carried messages from distant fronts, news of wars that tested courage and strategy. Freya listened with poise, her mind calculating, her heart sensing the balance of life and death. In her gaze, one could see the intricate dance between love and war, tenderness and unyielding force. A single glance from her could inspire devotion or fear. Her magic glimmered subtly, influencing, guiding, shaping the fates of those around her. No mortal or god could ignore the power she wielded, and yet, few truly understood her depth. She paused at the edge of a pond, watching her reflection ripple across the water. The reflection of a goddess who had loved and lost, who had fought and endured. Her heart carried the memory of battles she had not fought physically, but emotionally. Wars of the mind, of the heart, of destiny. And in that quiet reflection, she remembered the prophecy. The realms would face a time when love and war collided in ways that could not be undone. She knew that her role was not passive. Every choice, every moment of hesitation, would shape the coming storm. The light shifted as clouds gathered in the sky, a reminder that peace was fleeting, a warning that power was never without consequence. Freya, the goddess of love and war, breathed deeply. Her eyes sparkled with determination, knowing that soon the realms would call upon her strength, her wisdom, and her fury. And for those who would follow her story, there was one simple truth: love and war were inseparable. They lived in her heart, in her hands, in the choices she would make. And her story, as timeless as the realms themselves, was only just beginning. The sky above the Vanir lands darkened, clouds swirled with a foreboding energy, shadows stretching across the plains. Freya's heart pulsed with anticipation. The calm had ended, and war called. Valkyries descended like arrows of steel, their wings slicing the air with precision. Each one carried the fate of warriors in their hands. Freya raised her arms, and her magic rippled outward, touching the battlefield like fire over water. Enemies stirred, sensing a presence beyond mortal comprehension. The ground shook as armies clashed, swords and shields meeting with thunderous impact. And at the center, Freya moved with fluid grace, a goddess who commanded both respect and fear. Lightning flashed across the battlefield, her eyes blazed with determination, reflecting the chaos she both nurtured and contained. Every strike she guided, every command she gave, balanced between compassion and deadly precision. Love and war intertwined in ways no mortal could grasp. She inspired courage, ignited fear, and determined who would live and who would fall. The winds carried her voice, soft but commanding, and even the fiercest warriors obeyed instinctively. From the horizon, foes advanced with malice, their armor glinting under the darkened sky. Freya stepped forward, and the ground seemed to respond to her presence. Her magic twisted the elements. Gusts of wind, bursts of flame, and protective shields for those she favored. The clash was relentless. Arrows rained, swords met, and screams echoed across the plains. Yet, at every moment, Freya remained composed, her focus unwavering, her strategy flawless. Even the gods watched silently, knowing her influence could tip the scales. Thor's hammer and Odin's spear were mighty, but Freya's will guided the tide of battle in ways subtle yet unstoppable. Amid the chaos, she noticed a warrior faltering. A single gesture from Freya, a whisper of encouragement, and the warrior surged forward, turning the battle in a single instant. This was her power, not just destruction, but control. Not just fury, but calculated divine influence. Love and war were inseparable, and she wielded both with perfection. As night fell, the battlefield lay scarred. Smoke rose, mingling with the starlight above. Freya stood at the center, calm but vigilant, knowing this war was only the beginning. Her eyes scanned the horizon, anticipating the next wave of conflict. Every choice, every motion, every heartbeat of this war was hers to guide. The battlefield was silent now, but silence carried weight. Smoke rose in curling tendrils, and the earth bore the scars of clashing armies. Freya stood alone among the fallen, her eyes scanning the horizon with quiet vigilance. The goddess of love and war felt both triumph and sorrow. Every victory had a cost. Every decision left echoes in hearts and minds. She had guided warriors, shaped destinies, and even the strongest had felt her influence. Yet, power was not without consequence. The survivors whispered tales of her might, and enemies carried fear wherever they fled. Mortals and gods alike realized that Freya was not merely a figure of beauty or desire, but a force whose presence changed everything. In the quiet aftermath, she tended to the wounded. Her magic healed, comforted, and inspired hope, proving that love and war were not opposites, but two sides of her being. The Valkyries moved beside her, honoring her guidance, knowing their loyalty had secured a fragile peace. But peace was fleeting. News arrived from distant lands, whispers of new conflicts, challenges yet to come. Freya understood that her role was never truly complete. She was both shield and sword, heart and storm, the balance between chaos and harmony. Her gaze turned to the heavens. Stars twinkled like distant memories, and the realms themselves seemed to pause, acknowledging her influence. Love and war, creation and destruction, hope and fear, all intertwined in her hands. The goddess walked back through the battlefield, her presence commanding yet gentle. Every life she touched would remember her choices. Every decision she made now rippled into the future, shaping the realms in ways unseen. And as she disappeared into the distance, one truth remained clear. Freya was eternal, a goddess of power, of heart, and of destiny. Wherever love and war collided, her influence would be felt. The battlefield lay quiet, but the air still carried whispers of the chaos that had passed. Freya moved slowly through the remnants of conflict, her eyes calm yet sharp, surveying the lives that had been shaped by her hand. Even in silence, her presence commanded attention, a goddess whose influence reached far beyond what mortals could comprehend. Her heart had felt both sorrow and triumph, love and fury, and each emotion had guided her choices. Every life she touched, every decision she made, rippled outward like stones cast into a still pond. The survivors remembered her kindness, the fallen remembered her wrath, and the realms themselves bore the mark of her power. She paused at a broken sword embedded in the earth, sunlight glinting off its edge. It was a reminder that victory and loss often walked side by side. Her magic stirred subtly, healing what it could, inspiring what remained, and fortifying the hearts of those who would continue the fight. Freya turned her gaze to the horizon, where the first light of dawn began to break the darkness. Even in the midst of destruction, there was promise, hope waiting to take root in the hearts of mortals and gods alike. She understood that true power lay not only in combat, but in guidance, compassion, and the wisdom to know when to wield both. The Valkyries circled overhead, silent watchers of the realms, their wings cutting through the morning air like blades of judgment. Their loyalty and vigilance reminded all that even legends required guardians, and Freya had earned theirs through deeds both tender and fierce. Her choices had forged paths through love and war alike, shaping destinies that would echo for generations. Mortals would speak of her in hushed tones, telling tales of the goddess who balanced hearts and battles. Gods would acknowledge her wisdom and her power, even if their pride kept them silent. And the realms themselves would remember, for every wave of magic, every moment of courage, bore the signature of Freya. Yet she remained humble, knowing that the story was never truly finished. The threads of love and war were intertwined, infinite in their complexity, and she would continue to guide them wherever her influence was needed. Every sunrise would bring new challenges, every heart she touched would require strength, and every battle would demand resolve. As she walked away from the battlefield, the wind carried the soft echoes of her footsteps. It was a reminder that even the most powerful of beings moved through the world with care, precision, and respect for the lives around them. Freya, goddess of love and war, had left her mark, eternal, balanced, and unyielding. Subscribe now to follow Freya's epic journey, and don't miss the next cinematic chapter of her story. Comment Part 5 if you want the next installment, where love, power, and conflict continue to shape the realms.